Today, I want to talk to you about how walking faster can significantly improve cardiovascular health, calorie burn, and overall fitness. The news is plentiful with stories of how fast paced walking is the secret to better health and a way to achieve the benefits of a 10,000 step walk in a shorter amount of time. I'm Katie Miali, and I'm a competitive race walker, and I'm here to explain the techniques of race walking, power walking, and other fast walking methods that help you increase your pace and speed. You don't need special equipment. The key to this video is to help you walk like an athlete. To do so, you can power walk, speed walk, or race walk. It really doesn't matter what you call it, or if you are a legally compliant race walker. The main difference between athletic walking and race walking is what happens at the knee when your heel strikes the ground. All of the rest of the technique should be the same. So let's learn how to walk like an athlete, increase your heart rate, and utilize all your major muscle groups for the best workout you can do. We'll start with a few warm-up exercises, then show you how to walk like an athlete, and finally show you how to stretch. Observe myself walking like a pedestrian. I am not making an effort to walk fast, increase my range of motion, or utilize my muscles to their fullest extent. Now, watch me walk like a traditional power walker. I am just walking faster, using my arms a little more, and getting an okay workout. However, if I engage my hips and arms in a synchronous motion, look at how I walk faster, more athletically, and with increased muscle usage. Finally, look at me as my best me as a race walker. I'm engaging my arms and hips while also straightening my knee when my heel strikes the ground and keeping it straight until my leg is under my torso. What kind of walker do you want to be? If it's the athletic power walker or race walker, this is the video for you. We'll show you proper race walking technique, but don't let that intimidate you. If you can't straighten your knee, don't sweat it. Just do everything else. The warm-up exercises will make you more flexible, the technique more powerful, and the cooldown stretches will help prevent injury. It's always good to start with a simple pedestrian walk to warm up your muscles. Then you can do a series of walking-specific drills that will increase your heart rate, get blood flowing to your muscles, and prepare you to walk faster. The hamstrings are active during every phase of a walker's stride. It's imperative that we keep them flexible to maximize their efficiency and ensure that the leg can straighten properly. This exercise is accomplished while standing straight up. First, place one extended leg 6 inches in front of your body with toes pointed up. Next, bend over slowly, and without bending the knee of your extended leg, reach to touch your toes. Next, walk forward, alternating legs, and if you are flexible, try reaching beyond your toes. To relieve the stress on your back, make sure your buttocks is behind your rear foot when touching your toes. Perform this exercise for 30 meters. One key to walking fast, whether you are a power walker or a race walker, is leg turnover. We want to move our legs faster and get our heart rate higher. The 4 variations of quick step drills are perfect to help to increase your speed, increase your turnover rate, and reduce overstriding. In addition, these drills allow you to practice getting your toes up. Each variation follows the same basic steps. First, race walk with normal leg technique. Walk with very short strides of 12 inches or less. Focus on turnover, forcing your feet to pick up and come down very quickly. Focus on planting with your heel, landing with your toe up, and rolling through smoothly. Focus on quieting your shoulders and torso. The first 2 versions of quick steps are to place your hands behind the back or to place your hands behind your head. This causes the hips to be forced to move forward without the aid of the arms pumping forward and back, thus also helping you develop forward hip rotation. You can also try the Superman variation where you place your hands out in front of your body and keep your head held as steady as possible. A final variation of quick steps is the airplane, where you place your hands out to your sides. This helps with turnover and forward hip rotation. The hurdler's drill helps improve hip and groin flexibility while warming you up for walking at the same time. First, lean against a wall or a tree. While facing forward, swing your leg forward and up, then back it around as if it were clearing a hurdle placed at your side. Use a prop such as someone's arm to act as the hurdle if possible. Range of motion is key to performing this drill correctly. Be sure to extend your leg in as large of a circle as possible by bringing your foot up as high as your knee on the swing through. Perform this exercise 10 to 15 times for each leg. The side leg swing drill helps to improve hip and groin flexibility while warming you up for walking at the same time. First, lean against a pole or tree. Swing your leg up and away from the body, kicking the leg as high as you can. Swing the leg down and in front of the body, letting the hip move across the front of the body. As the leg swings upward in front of your body, extend it as far as your range of motion allows. You can lift the heel of your supporting leg off the ground so that you can have an extra stretch. Reverse your position back to the starting position. Repeat this exercise 10 to 15 times for each leg. Another warm-up exercise is the forward leg kick drill. Hold onto a pole or tree for balance. Extend your opposite arm and leg. Swing the leg and hip under the body while bringing the opposite arm back toward the body. Drive the knee up as high as you can while bringing your opposite arm back behind your body. Reverse your arm and leg swing, extending back to your original position. Repeat this exercise 10 to 15 times for each leg.
Hi, I'm Jeff Salvage, and I'm an internationally recognized race walking expert who's been walking like an athlete for over 4 decades. I'm going to introduce you to the techniques of walking fast. Then I'll hand it back to Katie Miali, and she'll explain to you how to cool down. Let's go.
Let's start our discussion with posture. Notice how a race walker's torso is in a vertical position. Historically, this wasn't always the case, with race walkers being coached to lean from the ankles. This led to a very sore lower back as well as restricted hip rotation. By walking tall, walkers' technique is more graceful and efficient. Their posture is one of the factors in why they can achieve the ideal of having a longer stride behind their body than in front of their body. Let's dissect the stride further by observing what happens as the leg completes its swing forward. As it straightens, the toes are pointed up between 20 to 30 degrees from the ground, as measured along the sole of the shoe, and then the heel strikes the ground. Let's also note the position of the rest of the body. The right arm swings backward, coming up to an angle of 20 to 30 degrees. While for decades we've stated you should hold your arm at 90 degrees, most elite walkers hold theirs at an angle at slightly less than 90 degrees. The key is for your hand to swing to just behind the hip. If you're holding your arm at 85 degrees and it's not swinging back far enough, try opening your arm angle from 90 to 95 degrees. The variation can be for many reasons, including a difference in the ratio between your upper and lower arm. Finally, note the ratio of the stride in front and behind the body. It should be roughly 30-70. How you measure it matters. In this case, we are measuring the front of the stride from the point of heel contact to the center of the torso, and the rear portion of the stride from the center of the torso to the point of toe off. Then the body moves forward over the left leg. This is where walkers tend to violate part of the definition of race walking. The leg must remain straightened until it's in the vertical position. Once the leg is beyond the vertical position, it may bend. However, when it comes time to lift your heel off the ground, if your leg is still straightened, you get an extra thrust by pushing off your rear foot. With proper flexibility and strength, your leg stays straightened longer and you obtain this advantageous thrust. Ideally, the leg remains straightened until the heel of the rear foot lifts off the ground. Then roll up onto the toe of your rear foot. Notice that as the rear leg leaves the ground, the front leg is already in position. Also note, as we observed earlier, that the legs do not create a symmetrical triangle. More of the stride is behind the body than in front. This is achieved through proper hip action, which is explained shortly. Next, we observe the left leg as it swings forward. The goal is for the foot to swing forward as low to the ground as possible. This averts loss of contact problems that may occur if you drive your foot too high coming through your stride. If your foot is too high, you might have a propensity to drive the leg up instead of forward, thus making you a risk for visible loss of contact and getting disqualified. Watch the progression of the rear foot as it leaves the ground until just after the same foot strikes the ground in front of the body. Let's look at that portion of the stride again. When the rear foot leaves the ground, it swings forward with the leg flexed at the knee. Note the constant angle between the upper and lower leg during this phase. When a race walker begins straightening the leg, the quadriceps are used to extend it. When the foot makes contact with the ground, the leg must be straightened and no longer flexed at the knee. Let's look at a race walker from above. Notice how their footfalls land in a straight line. A pedestrian walker, in contrast, has footfalls on either side of a straight line. If you told a pedestrian walker to speed up, their footfalls would naturally land closer to the center line. This is because of the added engagement of their hips. The more a walker's hips engage, the more the walker's feet will land in a straight line. If we look at a walker from the front, we will also notice that the feet do not come down flat. Instead, they land on the outer corner of the heel and progress forward slowly with a natural roll to the outside of the foot. This is not forced and something to notice more than actively pursue. Finally, we can look at the walker from the back and see how the foot progresses forwards. We can see the foot rolling forward up onto the big toe. Once the walker toes off the ground, the foot comes forward as low to the ground as possible and not swaying out further than it has to. Elite race walkers generate their primary source of forward locomotion from rotating the hips forward. Repeatedly pivoting the hips forward causes them to act as the body's motor, propelling it forward one step at a time. Actively swinging the hips forward lengthens the stride from the top of the legs, while increasing stride length behind the body. In a flexible race walker, the gain can be as much as 3 inches per stride. If you add as little as 1 inch to a typical 1 meter race walking stride, the net gain is approximately 10 meters per lap on a track. An efficient race walker has more of their stride behind their body than in front. This is directly due to hip rotation. Good forward hip rotation is the key to solid race walking technique. Some coaches tout that increasing hip rotation decreases a race walker's cadence. This is an inaccurate evaluation of biomechanics. The hips rotate forward at the same time as the leg swinging forward. The leg does not swing forward before the hip rotates. Since the two motions occur simultaneously, any reduction in cadence is minimal and greatly outweighed by the increase in stride length. The exact motion of the hips during race walking is a bit complicated. The hip moves in 3 dimensions, but its primary movement is forward. It also moves slightly in and out, as well as up and down. To further understand proper technique, observe the hip motion from varying perspectives. A small circular sticker on the outside of the center of the hip is a great way to observe how the hip moves forward as the walker progresses through the stride. We start with the center point of the left hip as the race walker plants their heel on the ground. As the body moves forward over the straightened leg, the center point of the hip rises until the straightened leg passes directly beneath the body. From the moment when the leg passes under the body until the right foot's toe pushes off the ground, the center point of the hip moves downwards. As the rear foot starts to swing forward, the leg must be bent. This bent leg swings forward as the hip continues to lower slightly. This is known as hip drop and, while necessary, is a minimal action. After the knee of the swing leg passes under the body, the center point of the hip rises to the neutral position. Finally, to show how the hip arcs out slightly at different parts of the stride, observe a walker from the top view. Note that the outward sway is minimal and not a forced action. Instead, the hip sways out or in due to the forces subjected to it by the legs, arms, and torso. As the walker's right foot is about to leave the ground, the right hip is behind the body and begins moving forward. As it does, the left hip arcs out slightly. Once the right hip swings under the body, the right hip continues forward while the left hip arches inward and back to the starting position. The process is repeated when the left leg swings forward and the right hip arches outward and back to the neutral position. Even after a technical explanation, many beginning walkers still do not know what it should feel like to race walk with proper hip motion. When Tim and I teach race walking clinics, we resort to analogies to try to get a walker to engage their hips properly. Vampire in a coffin. Even though you may not feel like you're using your hips when you race walk, you are to a minimal extent. Our goal is to get you to feel what rotating your hips feel like. Try this exercise, preferably at the base of a hill. Place your hands over the chest as a vampire would in a coffin. Start race walking up the hill. Make sure you use proper technique in your lower body and straighten your leg appropriately. Race walk up the hill for 50 feet or so. Now accelerate your race walk. You should feel a slight tugging in your hips as it naturally begins to rotate forward. Go with the feeling. Gunslinger analogy. One analogy is to think of yourself as a gunslinger in the Old West with a pistol on each hip. Imagine you want to walk through a set of saloon doors that have a gap in the middle. However, you're not going to push the doors open with your hand. Instead, keeping your torso as still as possible, swing your right hip forward so the gun pops the door forward. Then repeat it with the left hip. Use the same motion when you race walk and lead your leg forward from the hip. An elite race walker synchronizes arm and hip motion to maximize efficiency and speed. While the exact range of motion of the arms varies slightly with speed and effort, each arm travels from a couple of inches behind the hip to just above the chest line. Notice how when the arm swings forward, the wrist is positioned above the ankle. The primary power for arm movement is derived from the backward swing of the arm. It's not a wild pumping action and does not require much effort to thrust the arm forward. The shoulders need to be relaxed, allowing the shoulder to act as a fulcrum, with the arm swinging like a pendulum. With the proper arm angle, when you drive back, the arm swings to the proper position at a few inches behind your hip. With a relaxed shoulder, your arm recoils forward to the correct location. You'll be surprised how little effort is required to keep your arm moving quickly. But note that your arms can only move as fast as your hips and legs. It's all about synchronicity. Observe closely and you can see how the shoulders and torso move slightly forward as the opposite hip rotates forward. As the walker's left foot makes contact with the ground, their right shoulder moves slightly in front of their left. You can also notice the forward presence of the right side of their torso as it counters the left hip's forward progression. Proper arm swing must also take into account how the arm crosses in front of the body. Observe how the arm swings forward as if shaking someone's hand. One key to good arms is to relax the shoulders. While the shoulders do move slightly forward and back, countering the walker's hip rotation, they should remain relatively still. Also observe the height of your shoulders and check whether they're relaxed. Since you won't be carrying a ruler, simply place one hand on your shoulder and lower it as far down as it can go. When your shoulder is all the way down, it is relaxed.
The most common quadricep stretch is actually the most effective for our needs. Standing next to a polar wall for balance, raise the first leg behind the body, grabbing your foot. The upper part of the leg remains in a vertical position as you pull the leg upward. To completely stretch all quadriceps muscles, try the following variation. After completing the stretch shown, pull your leg back. Alternate legs. In both variations, be careful not to pull your leg laterally. This puts unneeded stress on the knee. It's equally important to cool down with a series of stretches as it is to warm up. Try these to improve your range of motion and reduce your chance of injury. Hamstring flexibility is a key to efficient walking technique and is especially important for those walkers with bent knee issues. The simplest way to stretch your hamstrings is to perform the traditional hamstring stretch. Sit down, placing one leg in front of you. Bend your other leg with the sole of your foot facing towards your straight leg and the knee pointed out. Keeping your back straight, lean forward from the hips, reaching towards your toes. Ideally, you should reach past your toes, but remember not to overstretch or bounce while trying to touch them. Just stay within your comfort zone. Hold the stretch for 20 to 30 seconds and repeat 2 to 3 times with each leg. When you try to walk fast, your shins are likely to get sore. It then becomes difficult to land with the toes pointed up. Therefore, we must treat our shins kindly. If you don't, you'll surely develop shin splints. This standing shin stretch is just one way to take care of it. However, be careful not to overdo it. Balance yourself near a polar wall. Put your weight on the supporting leg. Now touch the other foot to the ground, toe first, and pull your rear foot forward just to the point where it is about to move forward. Hold it there and you should feel the shin muscles elongate and loosen up. Do not rest on the bottom of the front of your foot. If your calves are tight, try the traditional calf stretch. Place both hands at shoulder height on a wall or pole in front of your body. Keep your arms fairly straight and your lead leg bent under your body. Place the heel of your rear leg 1.5 to 2 feet behind your body. Keeping your rear leg fairly straight but not locked in position, place the heel of this foot on the ground. You should feel a stretch down the outer part of your rear leg calf muscle. If you don't, try moving your rear foot back a little farther. Remember to place your heel back on the ground after you move your foot back. Throughout this stretch, your upper body should remain vertical and straight. Do not bend forward. Alternate legs when finished.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Goldstein, founder of the Fast Walker Group. My mission is to help you live longer, strengthen your heart and brain, maintain a healthy weight, and dramatically reduce your risk of chronic disease, simply by walking faster. Fast-paced walking truly is the magic pill for longevity. I discovered its power 16 years ago while tackling the marathon portion of a 140.6 mile Ironman competition, and I've been hooked ever since. Through fastwalker.com, I'll be bringing you more videos, practical training tips, daily updates on the health benefits of walking fast, fast walker clubs near you, and real life inspiration to get you moving. Not just for a stroll, but walking with purpose, power, and a little style. More like walking like an athlete and loving every step. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to hearing from your success stories as you take your own health journey into the world of fast walking. Walk strong, walk fast, and I'll see you out there.